Welcome back to the SCP Wiki. At least my read-through of it. Yeah, it's fun. We try to keep it lighthearted, and I input on it when I can. Just to read along. And I'm the narrator, so spooky, scary warning, and welcome. It's time to read the SCP Foundation Wiki. So, let's return. I don't know why I'm feeling like Streets of Rage quite a lot recently. The music's very good, but let's jump back in and enjoy some reading. Let's read some Foundation articles, shall we? So, as always, I like to start on the front page and then we'll check out a random one. So let's do so. And as always, I play my own music. This is actually in my playlist, but I'm playing it off a different one. And it just helps me focus. Sometimes it fits, other times it's just background noise, but whatever. Let's go. There it is, the front page. Yeah. I think it's just about the same as it was. Let's go to a random one. Random page. Hopefully this is new. This is 2947. Okay. So we do get a numbered one. Okay. Enough. I like this track, but I'm not responsible for it anymore. I'm moving on to my side. Okay, Nintendo would hate that. If that was my whole side of the coin. Yeah, they would utterly abhor that. They would absolutely hate that. Anyway. $29.47. Item number 2947. After class safe. Special containment procedures. All instances of 2947 are to be kept in individual containers with foam padding made to fit each instance, to ensure that transportation cannot result in the accidental spinning of the instances. Currently, there are no plans to create new instances of 2947. As far as you know, says the footnote attached to the link, and this links to MCD Fidget Winners. Is that like McDonald's? MCD? Did I read that right? 2947. Fidget Winners. Huh? Okay. Whatever this is. Marshall Carter and Dark. Okay, we're getting into like silly land. Herman Fuller's Circus. Okay, we're in maximum silly land. Marshall Carter and Dark is silly enough, but once you get into like Clown Zone. Yeah. Okay. Alki events may be initiated by 2 or more personnel within Site-29's high-impact test chamber. Proper testing procedure calls for 2 personnel to activate the 2947 instances by spinning them counterclockwise, and proceeding to evacuate through the blast doors in a timely manner. It is fucking fidget spinners. Description: 2947-1 is a 3-pronged aluminum fidget spinner toy, patterned with stripes in black and red-yellow gradient. The cap for the axle of 2947-1 has stylized text in katakana script, reading Fidget Winners trademark. No such entity has been found in any extant trademark database. When spun in a direction the user perceives as counterclockwise, 2947-1 will become capable of levitation. Breaking physical contact with 2947-1 will result in it orienting itself horizontally and continue rotating at its original speed. During this time, it will produce 2947-A1, a semi-solid stylized holographic construct resembling a Smilodon fatalis, with a mane of blue flames and striping in a pattern similar to the coloring on 2947-1 itself. Contact with skin will cause 2947-1 to cease motion and fall to the floor. Footnote 1. A species of extinct saber-toothed cat native to South America from the late Pleistocene to Holocene eras. When spun in a direction the user... When spun in a direction the user perceives as clockwise, 2947-1 will again suspend itself mid-air. 2947-1 will again suspend itself in mid-air, but along a vertical axis. During this time, information is projected onto 2947 in a manner similar to a statistics screen in a Japanese role-playing video game, displaying information as 2947-1's weight, maximum speed, and a statistic which simply reads Fighting Spirit, which is listed as Burning Smilodon. That's fucking badass. Furthermore, any item that can be classified as a fidget spinner toy that makes direct contact with 2947-1 is transmogrified. Furthermore, any item that can be classified as a fidget spinner toy that makes direct contact with 2947-1 is transmogrified into an instance of 2947. These additional instances possess anomalous properties identical to 2947, but have variations on the statistics display based on design, composition, weight, etc. However, new 2947 instances do not carry the same transformative properties as 2947-1. Bruh, we found the original Beyblade. What the fuck? Most instances of 2947 to date also have a unique fighting spirit. If at least two 2947 instances are spun counterclockwise, an Aoki event will occur. Aoki events are characterized by two or more 2947A instances engaging in combat with one another. Bruh, let it rip, this is Beyblade. I just saw a post on Twitter about like people in like illegal gambling rings with Beyblades. What the fuck? Come on. Come on, I'm like trying to predict what memes to say. If I missed that one, come on, I just saw it too. Aoki events are characterized by two or more 2947A instances engaging in combat with one another. During this event, 2947 instances will proceed towards the highest point in the area, up to 20 meters in outdoor areas, and attempt to collide with each other. During this event, 2947 instances will proceed towards the highest point in the area, up to 20 meters in outdoor areas, and attempt to collide with each other. These collisions are represented by physical combat that takes place between 2947A instances. 2947 instances are unaffected by normal gravity for the duration of Aoki events. The apparent win condition of an Aoki event is knocking all other 2947 instances to the ground and immobilizing them. Following the conclusion of an Aoki event, 2947 instances will return to their base state. Discovery: 2947 was discovered following its confiscation from a student at Blank Middle School in Bangor, Maine. It was placed in a bin of confiscated objects, along with several other fidget spinners previously confiscated, transfiguring all it made contact with into 2947 instances. Bruh, what? If almost like anything can be considered a fidget toy now. Like, you'll have like a toy robot that just like let it rip and it'll start kicking ass in the arena. Bruh, fidget toy means nothing now. Fidget spinner, yeah. I don't know, okay. Let's just keep it up in there. Okay, 2016 to 2017, this is perfect. It's only fidget spinners. At the end of the 2016 to 2017 school year, when all confiscated materials were returned, at least 3 individuals independently spun their 2947 instance counterclockwise, resulting in a large Aoki event. Due to the semi-solid nature of the entities, and the force of the attacks, mainly in the form of large pockets of high air pressure, over $200,000 in damage was done to the building. God damn. A transcript of security camera footage documenting the Aoki event is available below. For the purposes of clarity, all 2947A instances are referred to by the designations given to them on their statistics board. Which you have like fucking Agumon's Burning Fury 3001. And that's what it's called. If that's what it says on the stat screen. 2:39:15 p.m. Kyle Ballard, age 13, is seen spinning 2947-1 before inadvertently letting go as another unidentified student collides with their shoulder. It hovers in midair, unnoticed by Ballard, as he proceeds to berate the student who collided with him. 2:39:27 p.m. In the cafeteria, another student, Michelle Fletcher, puts down their 2947 instance after spinning it counterclockwise. It proceeds to hover in midair before an instance of 2947A, Congo Cerberus, resembling a three-headed gorilla, appears underneath and grows to reach the ceiling, approximately 10 meters high. The table it was laid on buckles under its weight, and Fletcher and several other students run out of the room. 2:39:31 p.m. Ballard's 2947 instance flies around him in a figure-8 pattern before it manifests its own 2947A instance, burning Smilodon. A Smilodon fatalis with a mane made of blue fire. It roars before proceeding to run in the direction of the cafeteria. This is just the setup to like a new Beyblade anime. You just did it for them. You made their new anime for them. 2:40:02 p.m. Dr. Craig Ward, Ballard's homeroom teacher and original confiscator of 2947, idly spins a two-pronged fidget spinner before abruptly sneezing and having it fall out of their hand. It hovers in midair. and a 2947A instance, Queen Arane, in the form of a 20-limbed spider-like creature, appears, running from the room with the 2947 instance in tow. Uh-oh. 2:41 p.m. Queen Arane runs down the chemistry hallway at high speeds. The air pressure wave created by its running shatters the fume hoods within Labs 1 and 3 and leaves a large crack in the hood of Lab 2. A fourth 2947A instance, Centurion Remus, in the form of a Roman centurion with the head of a large wolf, appears and engages in combat with Queen Arane, resulting in damage to several rows of lockers. The origin of Centurion Remus is unclear. 2947-4, when recovered, was found to have been soaked in water that was identified to be from the toilet of the men's room. The origin of Centurion Remus is unclear. 2947-4, when recovered, was found to have been soaked in water that was identified to be from the toilet of the men's restroom. 2:41:09 p.m. Several tables in the cafeteria are buckled and broken by the arrival of Burning Smilodon, which grows to match the size of Congo Cerberus. Burning Smilodon pounces on Congo Cerberus, causing both 2947 instances to come into view of the cameras. They proceed to collide repeatedly, shooting sparks from the collisions. 2:43:05 p.m. After several minutes of battling, the sparking from the two battling 2:43:05 p.m. After several minutes of battling, the sparking from the two battling 2947 instances ignites leftover cooking oil in one of the warming trays for cafeteria food, causing a fire to break out. At this point, the fire alarm is triggered and evacuation starts. 2:45:29 p.m. Burning Smilodon subdues Congo Cerberus. Burning Smilodon roars, causing several lights overhead to spark and shatter. Both instances fall to the ground inert as a cafeteria worker sprays the oil fire with a fire extinguisher. It was just like a hologram! Sorry, teachers! 3:00:29 p.m. Queen Arane and Centurion Remus's battle spills out of the parking lot of the school, where all school personnel have evacuated. Centurion is seen impaling Queen Arane in the Centurion is seen impaling Queen Arane on the school's flagpole, which causes it to buckle in half, before both instances are rendered inert. One 2947 instance lands on the head of an instructor, causing them to fall unconscious. 3:10:02. Foundation containment personnel arrive on scene and begin reviewing video logs. Addendum: Evolution of 2947A instances. During the 15th test of combat between 2947A1 and 2947A4, the Burning Smilodon entity underwent a change in appearance following its victory. 2947A1 now has longer fangs, a larger mane, and an overall larger body structure compared to the original appearance. Furthermore, testing of 2947A1 has Furthermore, testing of 2947A1 now shows that it has had a significant increase in the maximum speed at which it can be rotated, and weighs less than it did upon containment. These changes are reflected in the statistics screen, as is the change of 2947A1, which is now referred to as coronal machirodont. 2947A1 has been observed winning contests more consistently. It is unknown if other 2947A instances are capable of this evolution. Machirodont. Coronal machirodont. A shortening of Machirodontinae, the subfamily of Felidae, which is contained smilodons. Well, we had the footnote right there, so you know. Anyway. Animal gravity inscription safe. Animal gravity inscription safe, self-replicating telekinetic toy. Okay, now we're on to 2948. Let's go. What? It's a bomb. Okay. Damn, that's the bomb. That's the bomb. Could you imagine if we did it like that? I would never be able to keep up. Because I would just keep randomizing forever. And I would never know which ones I've read. No, I prefer it this way. At least once I've, like, passed a gate, I'll be like, okay. I'm at 1,129. Clearly I've read 857. I don't need to read that now. And I randomized to 857. I don't need to read it. Okay, that's 2229. Okay. What is that? Now I'm talking about that, like I don't know. I don't know. There's no reason to, like, fucking specifically look at it, but okay. This looks like we're talking about, like, legions and gladiators and the arena? This links to 1822. What the fuck? Okay, anyway. 291. Item number 291. Object class safe. Special containment procedures. 291 must remain disconnected from any power source when not in use for testing. A team of 2 personnel should remain on guard outside of 291's containment room, and will be swapped out weekly. While disconnected from a power supply, 291 may be considered safe. 291's main entryway closes and locks upon disconnection from a power supply, but the door may be opened manually from the interior in the event of any personnel being trapped. All blocks of disassembled organism are to be kept stored in a designated storage locker within the containment room, and are to be properly labeled with a Sharpie marker. Personnel responsible for lost or damaged blocks will be moved to other projects. No permanent marker, specifically Sharpie. Huh? No, it's just a misnomer. Description. 291 was located and data expunged. 291 resembles a small building and structure, a nearly featureless steel box measuring 10.5 meters by 30.2 meters at the base, and 15 meters tall. On one of the narrow sides there's a large door, 5 meters wide, that opens upward similar to a garage door, composed of metal slats a few inches high each. There's no handle on the exterior of the door, and while closed, all attempts to open it using non-destructive methods have failed. The interior of the door features a lock that can be opened manually to lift the door for a few seconds, before an unknown mechanism will force it shut again. At the other end of 291 is a similar opening with a lock and handle on the exterior and interior, allowing the door to be opened from either side. 2 small similar hatches only 1 meter by 1 meter can be found to the left of both doors, and may be opened from the exterior. The materials that compose 291 do appear to be only as strong as any other example would suggest, and a force that would normally bend or cut through steel will do the same to 291. Such testing is currently not allowed due to the risk of damaging 291. The interior of 291 is not well explored due to the extremely tight confines of the machinery and strong pulses of electromagnetic energy throughout various points while activated. When connected to a suitable power source, 291 activates with mechanical clanks and buzzing, and the entryway door springs open. The room inside is 4 meters by 2 meters, with a rather simple console board, a large display screen, and what has been described as a plexiglass coffin to one side, suitable in size for most humans under 2.13 meters, parentheses 7 foot, in height, who are not morbidly obese. The coffin rests on a conveyor belt a meter in height, the coffin itself being approximately a meter deep with a blue-green gel cushion of unidentified material lining the bottom. Blue-green. It has been described as pleasantly form-fitting and very cool and soft. Several tubes emerge from the side of the room over the coffin. Opposite the coffin, a number of cubby holes of various sizes with small doors that may be opened or closed are present on the wall. Their purpose shall be elaborated upon later. When a living animal, human or otherwise, is laid in the coffin, dead organisms with a mass of less than 1.6 kilograms, and groups of multiple organisms triggered no reaction. No matter their position, the control room moves into the ready state. In this state, the display screen shows a scanned, grid-lined image of the organism in the coffin, and the buttons on the console board become operable. Some of the smaller buttons will trigger different effects in the displayed image, such as toggling the skin and muscles of the display on and off, and revealing certain organs and organ systems, whether in real time or frozen depending upon more setting. There are no words, numbers, or symbols on the display or any of the buttons, and all buttons have two settings: on, in which they glow, and off, in which they are unlit. Various combinations produce different effects, and Dr. Wright has been kind enough to spend enough time playing with it to work up a crude user's manual. 3 large buttons, visibly different from the controls for the display, are available to the side. Dr. Wright's links to Happy Birthday from Nobody. What? Okay. Not a bomb. Mimetic hazard not detected. Okay. Dimensional Site 4. Okay. LOL Foundation. Okay. It's a proto-joke foundation. Provided that a living organism is lying in the coffin, the first button may be pressed. Pressing any buttons under other circumstances. Provided that a living organism is lying in the coffin, the first button may be pressed. Pressing any buttons under other circumstances yields no effect, and the button remains off, no matter how many times pressed. And the tubes extending over the coffin dispense a blue liquid into the coffin. This unidentified liquid acts as a sedative upon skin contact, and the occupant of the coffin quickly falls unconscious. The liquid can apparently be inhaled and swallowed without any harm. D-Class personnel have reported the taste to be similar to Kool-Aid. Samples have yielded little results in identification. Once the coffin is filled to the brim, the liquid quickly congeals into a thick syrup and then to a solid gel. Over this period, the occupant's detectable bodily functions, such as breathing and heartbeat, cease. This may be observed on the display screen. Coffin? Over this period, the occupant's detectable bodily functions, such as breathing and heartbeat, cease. This may be observed on the display screen. Once the liquid fully solidifies, the display screen shuts off and the conveyor belt starts to move. All attempts to stop the conveyor belt and remove either the coffin or the occupant cause the entire process to shut down, after which the blue liquid evaporates within a few minutes, and the subject regains consciousness unharmed. The conveyor belt carries the coffin and occupant through a small door that quickly locks closed, and the entire machine becomes a cacophony of mechanical clanking, whirring, and grinding. The display screen will only display a rectangle that slowly fills, like a loading bar, as 291 does its work. Depending upon the size of the organism, 291 finishes its as-of-yet unknown process at approximately 20 to 30 minutes, at which point the product can be retrieved at the opposite end of 291. The back door of 291 leads to a similar chamber, also containing a conveyor belt similar to the one that holds the coffin in the entryway. There's also a series of 24 cubby holes, or lockers, identical. There's also a series of 24 cubby holes, or lockers, identical to those found in the entry room. These cubby holes may be pulled out to retrieve their contents, parts of the organism, disassembled and preserved in blocks of an unidentified clear solid. These blocks are quite strong, but they can be melted by extremely high temperatures or shattered by sharp blows from a pick. However, breaking the blocks ruins the preservation method of 291 and results in the preserved object being unusable. The rest of the block quickly begins to dissolve into dust after a few minutes. See addendum for block designation. What the fuck? Okay. Whole blocks, however, may be stored indefinitely until being reinserted into 291 via the cubbyholes in the entrance room. Each block has a distinct size and will only fit snugly in its designated hole. Placing blocks in the wrong holes gets no reaction from the machine and will prevent it from being reactivated if the problem is fixed. Cubbies may be left empty, however, and it will function as normal. It is ill-advised to leave a cubby containing a vital organ empty. When the blocks are placed correctly and the doors to them shut, the second button on the console may be pressed. This does not work if the display shows a loading bar, as another operation is taking place. The doors to the cubby holes lock for a few seconds, during which 291 removes them through some means, and the machinery of the device grows louder, accompanied by another loading bar on the display screen. Reassembly takes slightly longer, approximately 40 to 50 minutes to finish, after which a plexiglass container, similar to the initial coffin, emerges from a door on the container. Reassembly takes slightly longer, approximately 40 to 50 minutes to finish, after which reassembly takes slightly longer, approximately 40 to 50 minutes to finish, after which a plexiglass container, similar to the initial coffin, emerges from a door on the conveyor belt in the exit room, holding a fully assembled organism immersed in blue liquid that slowly evaporates as the organism wakes. Reassembled organisms have no memory of the process, likening the experience to a very restful, dreamless sleep. They awaken with some slight disorientation, but this passes after a few minutes, and they complain about being very hungry. Tests reveal that they are reassembled with their stomachs empty. Organisms are also reassembled nude and devoid of any hair. A block containing what has been identified as the contents of the organism's digestive system, hair, scraps of clothing, and any other objects on the organism is disposed. A block containing what has been identified as the contents of the organism's digestive system, hair, scraps of clothing, and any other objects on the organism is deposited into one of the small side doors outside the main doors, and may be considered waste. Surveillance and scanning equipment sent inside the machine is disposed of in the same way, often twisted and wrecked. So, one thing that comes to mind is like the computer software. No, it's perfect already. It is just a loading screen and only like a couple inputs. Also, the hardware like output, yeah, it's cubbyhole blocks. Simple software cubbyhole blocks. There's like high-tech future that's like too simple. Later testing revealed that organisms can be reassembled in different, potentially malicious ways. See addendum for testing results. The third button is only to be used should something go wrong, when the production stops and the button blinks. It undoes whatever has been done the best it can and shuts down the whole process while triggering some kind of cleaning and reset method. Okay, that's kind of fucking scary. Addenda. Blocks are clear, and therefore the organs and body parts contained within may be easily identified and observed. The body is divided up like such. Bullet, brain, bullet, lungs and diaphragm, bullet, heart, bullet, digestive system, bullet, reproductive organs, bullet, left eye, bullet, right eye, bullet, upper left torso and arm musculature up to the elbow and various organs, bullet, upper right torso and arm musculature up to the elbow and various organs, bullet, lower left torso and upper leg, bullet, lower left torso and upper leg musculature and various organs, bullet, lower right torso and upper leg musculature and various organs, bullet, lower left leg and foot, bullet, lower right leg and foot, bullet, lower left arm and hand, bullet, lower right arm and hand, bullet, neck and head musculature and various organs, bullet, skeletal system from mid-spine up, bullet, skeletal system from mid-spine down, bullet, lymphatic and circulatory system from waist up, bullet, lymphatic and circulatory system from waist down, bullet, skin, parentheses, neatly folded. Testing results. Reassembling a body without vital organs results in the production shutting down, requiring the use of the third button. The body will be redeposited in block form at the exit, still inert. Reassembling a body without non-vital organs or body parts will result in that organ or body part being absent when the organism awakes, the wound sealed by unknown means that leave little to no scar tissue. Providing a body part for a missing body part will result in said body part being attached to its new body seemingly without fail. Okay. It has proved effective for heart transplants, limb transplants, and exchanging skin from one person to another. Okay. So it's like a fallible, but kind of like, sort of don't fuck with me surgery machine. Swapping the brains of two people results in a complete transfer of that person's personality and memories, and may be reversed, although subjects are often very disoriented for several days and complain of psychological and physical discomfort, like wearing shoes not quite the right size. That makes sense. It's probably just like a big scrambling. All the important shit's kind of jumbled. Swapping body parts between different species has yielded mixed results. Dr. Wrights has suggested that testing continue and the request is pending. Only 3 successful cross-species transfers have occurred out of the 20 tests performed so far. 1. A cat's left eye was swapped out for a human's left eye. The subject could use the eye fully and mentioned they felt they had adapted to it rather well. Their new left eye displayed all the abilities of a cat's eye, including difficulty seeing colors and heightened perception in the dark. Although this test was unauthorized, the results were considered to be mildly impressive enough to allow further testing. The cat, given a human eye, clawed its human eye out in a week. 7. A human's brain was successfully transferred into the body of an English Mastiff, reportedly thanks to the dog's large skull size. He requested to be transferred back to his human body as soon as possible, though. The Mastiff in the human's body learned to walk upright within a few hours, and was disassembled again after an incident involving the humiliation of a female doctor. What, did he pee? What happened? 16. A female Class D personnel had her reproductive organs switched with those of a pregnant Labrador retriever. No tests involving 291 with other SCPs have yet been authorized. We didn't, state the results of 16 there, though, huh? That was, the freakiest one out of all of them. There. And that was, the very last one. Right there. Okay. You're just gonna ignore it? Okay. Building mechanical reanimation safe transfiguration. 292. Item number 292, Object Class Euclid. Special containment procedures. 292 is to be kept at Site-72 in a guarded room in a locked, padded container set up to avoid movement of or damage to 292. Access to 292 is prohibited without Level 3 authorization. Site personnel must report all incidents of deja vu or related symptoms to site administration. Description: 292 is a 60-second brass hourglass 10 centimeters tall. When all its sand is at the bottom and 292 is flipped over, Only two outcomes have ever been observed. Either the sand runs out normally after 1 minute, or 292 is knocked over on its side. If 292 is knocked over, anomalous properties do not again manifest until all the sand in 292 is in one bulb. At no time has 292 ever been observed to be flipped over a second time within 60 seconds, except when knocked over as above. Anytime 292 is upright and all its sand is in its bottom bulb, and a subject attempts to flip 292 over with the intent to flip it again before all its sand runs out, the subject and some people nearby suddenly experience déjà vu. The intensity of déjà vu is inversely proportional to a person's distance from 292. The subject is often momentarily stunned by the experiment. This is really interesting. Anytime 292 is upright and all its sand is in its bottom bulb, and a subject attempts to flip 292 over with the intent to flip it again before all its sand runs out, the subject and people nearby suddenly experience déjà vu. The intensity of déjà vu is inversely proportional to a person's distance from 292. The subject is often momentarily stunned by the experience. Persons experiencing déjà vu from the same event often describe similar recalled experiences. It is believed that when 292 is flipped over, a process is started in which, if 292 is flipped again before its sand runs out, time flows in reverse to a point a couple of seconds before 292 was initially flipped. Time then flows forward again as if 292 were never flipped. Déjà vu would thus be a side effect of this process. That'd be fucking cool. Wait, Is all déjà vu a remnant of this, or is déjà vu a remnant of time travel? Like time fixation or whatever. Footnote 1. This effect is similar in nature to that of 1876, albeit with different psychological effects on those experiencing the phenomenon. Okay. This one's really interesting. I like déjà vu related time manipulation stuff. Prolonged exposure to 292 can cause nausea, migraines, vertigo, hallucinations, seizures, and symptoms consistent with temporal disjunction, somatic, psychological, or both. Footnote 2. More information can be found in document 292/48K. Theoretical and observed symptoms of temporally related afflictions, or document 292/48K. Addendum 1, Experiment 292-31. Procedure. Subject 03101 was instructed to flip 292 over and then shoot Subject 03102 to death and flipped 292 back over before it runs out. Results. As Subject 01 reached for 292, both subject... This is going to end so poorly. But I imagine that both subjects are alive at the end. It's just going to be fucking weird. Or one of them's dead, but we have to interfere in the process. Results. As Subject 1 reached for 292, both subjects as well as other personnel in the area reported feeling déjà vu. Subject 1 exhibited elevated levels of adrenaline, while Subject 2 exhibited pronounced apprehension in the presence of Subject 1. So it's like temporal bleed. The concept of déjà vu affecting or being in tandem with temporal bleed, where you either experience timeline from seconds ago, timeline from whenever ago, or timeline from a parallel universe. Yeah, a timeline, just relative operative word for river of time theory, or local river. Addendum 2, Experiment 292-46. Procedure. Subject 04601 was instructed to flip 292 over, wait 30 seconds, and flip 292... Procedure. Subject 04601 was instructed to flip 292 over, wait 30 seconds, and flip 292 back over. When déjà vu was experienced, Subject 04602 was instructed to do the same thing. When déjà vu was experienced a second time, Subject 04603 was instructed to do the same thing. Results. As Subject 01 reached for 292, all subjects experienced deja vu as expected. Subject 2 hesitated and was instructed to flip 292. While reaching for 292, Subject 2 fell to his knees, Subject 1 doubled over, and Subject 3 staggered. Subject 3 was instructed to flip 292, and as he reached for 292, all subject appeared to exhibit temporal shock for 10 to 15 seconds before falling unconscious. Temporal symptoms subsided within 5 to 7 days, while visual and audio hallucinations persisted for several months more. Oh my god. Footnote 3? IBID? Temporal shock. IBID. Yeah, I understand the concept, like, outside of this realm, but also, like, the concept applied is very scary and interesting. Temporal shock, where, in this deja vu context at least, too, once you've, like, amplified it to the 3rd degree, like, let's look at Lisp Reflection Tower, for example. That amplification, it's just infinite power scaling, or whatever. Whereas Lisp 2, it's not as complex as 3 Lisp, or whatever. So it's the magnification concept, like, once the protocol has gone beyond Actor 2, we're already experiencing the aftershock effects of, like, Actor 1 wants to flip it again. They've deja vu'd. We tell Actor 2 to flip. Deja vu parallax happens, where, like, we just start getting crippled by it. It's like a gravity weight afflicting everyone. Actor 3 inputs, and they all fucking fall down. Yeah, because, like, you compound temporal manipulation, like, especially with deja vu, and, like, you're gonna get, like, I don't want to say necessarily panpsychism, but you're gonna get, like, psychic manipulation logic going on, where, like, the time differential plus psyche is gonna be, like, just weird. Mental power plus the psychic differential plus the time differential, you know, it's just weird. It's instead of it's shifting gears, it's like fucking knives, forks with all their teeth smashing together. Addendum 3, Incident 29204. While preparing for Experiment 29275, Dr. Blank suddenly clutched 292 to his chest and reported he had just experienced deja vu. Dr. Blank said that he felt like he was about to drop 292, and if he did, something bad would happen. Dr. Blank has hypothesized that Dr. Blank, different doctor, had indeed dropped 292, but instead of breaking, 292 reversed the flow of time until a moment before it was dropped. If 292 does in fact possess such a self-preservation system, the potential consequences data expunged. Reclassification to Euclid approved, double blank 20 double blank until more information on 292's properties can be gathered and analyzed. This has to do with anchoring the thread, I think. This is connected to anchoring the thread. This is the dead man's switch. But this is like, every conceptual method can be simplified with this one, pretty much. You want to nuke planet Earth? Well, you didn't. Do it again. Nope. You want to, like, black hole planet Earth? Sorry, you, like, ended up back in your planet system before you jumped over to planet Earth. You want to delete the universe? Sorry. You want to delete the multiverse? Sorry. Yeah. Potentially, I don't know. You don't know with that one. You spill, like, the beans. You spill the, like, omniversal beans all over. Like, I don't know. It depends on, like, the time scope context. If you're in a time space at a higher vector than what the universe is handling, then you'll just reset to a different multiversal universe. It'll just go back to, like, alpha instead of whatever beta verse you went to. Whatever beta universe you went to.
You fucking beta universe.
Artifact Euclid, mind affecting, spatial temporal. I use the Greek just to, like, step the logic. I'm not talking, like, alpha, beta, you know, software. I'm saying, like, A, B, C. 293, item number 293, object class Keter, special containment procedures. Any items affected by 293 are to be contained in an opaque container and kept sealed when not undergoing testing. Any items found to be affecting staff or subjects not undergoing testing are to be immediately destroyed. Any anomalous activity by 293 affected items is to be reported to Site Command as soon as possible. Anyone interacting with items affected by 293 must do so only in 30-minute shifts, with 1 week of time separating each interaction. Anyone interacting with items affected by 293 must do so only in 30-minute shifts, with 1 week of time separating each interaction. This includes physical handling, observation, both physical and via camera or other recording device, testing, and any other activities that bring an 293 affected item into contact with human beings. All staff working with 293 affected items must submit to a psychological evaluation 3 times per week, to begin 2 weeks before interaction and extending for 3 weeks after the end of interaction. Staff must also submit to any additional test as ordered by Site Command. Anyone found to be affected by 293 will be placed in quarantine, and the item causing the effect is to be immediately destroyed. Any items used to interact with 293 affected items are to be disposed of after 1 week. Description: 293 is currently held to be some form of intangible force or presence. Questions have been raised regarding a possible intelligence behind 293 in light of subjects' reactions. However, these are still unfounded. 293 is most visible in its effect on human behavior. It is only detectable in very advanced cases as a very slight auditory disturbance. This lack of presence forms a major issue with 293 detection, as it is almost impossible to detect if items or people are infected by 293 without long-term observation. 293 bonds to physical items, in most cases small, lightweight items. However, larger items such as cars, trees, and in one case a 2-story residential home are not unknown. 293 bonds to physical items, in most cases small, lightweight items. However, larger items such as cars, trees, and in one case a 2-story residential home are not unknown. 293 will spread to new items if they are left in close 2 meters or less proximity for several weeks. 293 does not appear to bond living things, and its effect is only visible in humans. It is unknown how 293 spreads to new items, or what the criteria are for an item to be bonded. However, there appears to be a higher probability of bonding for items that can be easily carried or transported in a human hand. However, there appears to be a higher probability of bonding for items that can be easily carried/transported in a human hand. 293 causes those affected by it to become progressively obsessed with the item it is bonded to. This process appears to be accelerated by observation and physical contact with the item affected by 293. Subjects will rapidly become withdrawn and antisocial, and react violently to anyone attempting to touch or remove the item. Subjects' actions toward the bonded item will begin to take on parental aspects in 78% of cases. Subjects' actions toward the bonded item will begin to take on parental aspects in 78% of cases, with the subject rocking, cleaning, and attending to the object as if it were not an inanimate object. Attempts to interrupt these rituals or bring attention to the inappropriateness of this behavior will cause the subject to enter an extreme state of fear, depression, or anger, which persists for an extended period of time. In many cases, the obsession and ritual cycle of 293 will grow to the point where the subject is unable to function normally, needing constant contact with the 293 bonded item. Subjects will show a marked and progressive impairment of performance in simple tasks such as preparing food, engaging in personal hygiene, or sleeping. In 22% of cases, with non-parental attachment with 293, subjects may also begin to engage in personal abuse and damage, believing they are being ordered to do so. Mental and physical degradation in both cases are often directly related to cause of death. Attempting to remove the item from the subject will cause the subject to enter a violent, fearful, depressed, hysterical, or one of many other mental states. These episodes are nearly impossible to end except by the return of the item, or several months of separation. Subjects will become more and more erratic and hysterical the longer they are separated, and will violently attack others to reacquire the item. Subjects will often commit suicide after several days of separation from or loss of the 293 affected item. The Foundation currently has 182 items affected by 293 in storage. It is unknown at this time how many items worldwide may be affected by 293, and questions have been raised as to 293 and its possible relationship to several other SCP items and the exploits of some serial murderers. Cognito hazard, intangible, Keter, tactile visual. Okay. Oh, man. Here we go. Here we go. 294. The description of the image is 294 at time of recovery. It's a vending machine. It appears to describe coffee on the display. I see a variety of coffee drinks. It appears to be a cappuccino, black coffee, and a whipped mocha or something. There's a machine next to it. The machine appears to be normal. At least the one next to it, it takes money. It appears to be displaying a message saying, "Have a nice day." I see a nice. Snack pack, I think, is what is advertised on the machine to the left. It has like a dial and a coin slot, as well as like a key hole. There's another machine to the right of it as well. The one I'm describing is to the left. The main machine is the subject of the photo. It also has a dial and a coin slot. There's a dispense, presumably for a cup, and a coin return slot as well. The floor is just, granite, like brown tile or something. I'm not sure. The machine to the left also has a coin slot return. Each coffee mug is depicted on like a stone pillar that's very ornate. Very curvy, like Greek, I guess. I'm not sure. The closest subject coffee mug is just a white ivory mug with a very angular cusp, a grip. Further back in the middle is a decorative, like blue diamond patterned blue and deeper blue. That's the whipped one. Even further back is like the pumpkin spice or whatever this one is. It's orange. Ceramic. The main anomalous property of this vending machine is that it has a full keyboard. Well, without it just has a number row on the top. It doesn't have the number pad or anything. It just has the standard ISO layout for typing American English, left to right buttons, 1 to 0 through 9, backspace, tilde key, and grave marker. In fact, it's missing a lot of symbols. But it does have, QWERTY, UYOP, etc. Object class Euclid. Item number 294. Special containment procedures. There are no standard special containment procedures on file for item 294. However, only personnel of security clearance level 2 or higher are allowed to interact with it. See document SCP-294-A. 294 is currently being stored in the second floor personnel break room. It is monitored by 2 guards of security clearance, level 3 at all times. Description: Item 294 appears to be a standard coffee vending machine. The only noticeable difference being an entry touchpad with buttons corresponding to an English QWERTY keyboard. Upon depositing 50 cents US currency into the coin slot, the user is prompted to enter the name of any liquid using the touchpad. Upon doing so, a standard 12-ounce paper drinking cup is placed, and the liquid indicated is poured. 97 additional test runs were performed, including requests for water, coffee, beer, and soda, non-consumable liquids such as sulfuric acid, wiper fluid, and motor oil. as well as substances that do not usually exist in liquid state, such as nitrogen, iron, and glass, and each one returned a success. Test runs with solid materials such as diamond have failed. However, as it appears that 294 can only deliver substances that can exist in liquid state. It is of note that after approximately 50 uses, the machine would not respond to further requests. After a period of approximately 90 minutes, the machine seemed to have restocked itself. It is also interesting to note that many caustic liquids that would have eaten through a normal paper cup seem to have no effect on the cups dispensed by the machine. Testing is ongoing. As suggested, 294 was moved to the second floor personnel break room as a money-saving venture. Following Incident 294-01, guards were stationed at the item and a security clearance became necessary to interact with it. Document 294A regarding Incident 294-01. On August 21, 2005, Agent Joseph Blank attempted to use Item 294 to obtain coffee during his allotted break time at 9:30 a.m. At the request of Agent Blank Blank to see what it would do, Blank requested a cup of Joe from the item. Moments after confirming the selection, Agent Joseph Blank began to sweat profusely and complained of dizziness before collapsing. After moving the unconscious agent to the infirmary, the medical team recovered the contents of the cup dispensed by Item 294, a combination of blood, tissue, and other bodily fluids. Testing revealed the DNA sequence of the biological material dispensed by 294 matched that of Agent Blank. It's just like what I said before. The styrofoam cups is just like poof, we sprinkled magic on it. The machine's powered by like a nuclear engine or whatever. But it sprinkles the poof dust, and it says like, hey, that's just a cup that can contain anything that this dispenses. You could throw it in the garbage and like recycle it though. Just anything that this dispenses into it is fine. That's the only like programmable vector on it. Thus it can like garbage collect itself. Agent Blank made a complete recovery after 4 weeks of rest and intravenous hydration. X-rays and CAT scans showed no further signs of injury, and Blank was released. Both agents were reprimanded. Additional security measures for 294 have been recommended. Addendum 294F. After reviewing documentation on 294, Blank suggested testing 294's ability to retrieve specific liquids from a distance. Addendum 294H. With the overseeing of O5 data expunged, a cup of SCP-075's secretion was used as input. The product was proven to be the requested liquid, and the cup was able to successfully contain the material. However, the report for Incident 07507 was acknowledged 2 hours after the test. See Addendum SCP-075-M. A containment procedure breach had occurred exactly the same time this test was taking place, waking 075 to its active stage. It was able to secrete an amount of basic solution equal to the capacity of a coffee cup before emergency containment procedure was applied, and it was rendered passive. The liquid was not found in the post-incident investigation. Huh. I forget what that one's all about, but it explained it well, I remember, whenever I reread it. Addendum 294I. Researcher punched in request for a cup of gold. The machine dispensed a cup of molten gold. Researcher requested similar precious metals with the same result. Addendum 294J. Researcher punched in from a safe range. Request for a cup of anti-water. The machine hummed briefly, then displayed out of range on entry pad. It is theorized that 294 has a limited range of collection and cannot reach into alternate universes / dimensions. This is probably like my favorite one out of this whole thing. Backed away, asked for a cup of anti-water. My bruh, you could have just like deleted the whole universe with that one. A cup could have been potential enough to like fucking annihilate all of us for all you know. a cup of anti-water could, in another universe, be a cup of, like, anti-water 9. And therefore, it expands to, like, volumetrically in our universe to, like, water 1 flattened to, like, water 1 fucking trillion billion or whatever. Right? Like, you expand how much it's complex. Multiplexed or whatever. Yeah, good luck. It's gonna fucking eat us. It's just all theory. That's all just a theorem. The SCP theorem. That's all just a theory. A foundation theory. Okay. Addendum 294K. Researcher punched in request for diamond. 294 briefly hummed, then displayed out of range on entry pad. 294 gives this result for all solid substances. As diamond is a solid crystalline form of carbon, it appears the machine will not dispense liquid carbon, as this does not result in a diamond. When cup of carbon was subsequently punched in, the machine dispensed a liquid... When cup of carbon was subsequently punched in, the machine dispensed a cup of liquid carbon. 294 was immune to the damaging effects of the dispensed liquid. I can only imagine what, like, raw carbon will do. Addendum 294M. Testing for range of 294's capacity for retrieval has been initiated. A unique compound has been formulated composed of undisclosed ratios of blank brand bleach, blank 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 brand cola, met RX powder, and garam masala. The fluid was created and placed in a sealed container 25 meters away from 294. When requested, the fluid was dispensed. An equal amount of the mixture was no longer present in its original container. So did we, like, manually input through commands in the terminal, this is what I want, just this specific concoction mixture of all of these ingredients, and then it gave you that out? It makes sense, but, like, hey, then do you say, like, from universe alpha, beta, omega, like 0934, like, just type in random shit at that point, like $, hash symbol, @ symbol. I want you to grab liquid diamond from there, like true liquid diamond, even if it's out of range. Grab out of range liquid diamond. Grab ranged liquid diamond. I don't know. Addendum 294-001. Researcher blank blank, under observation of level 4 personnel, keyed in a request to... Addendum 294-001. Researcher blank blank, under observation of level 4 personnel, keyed in a request of the best drink I've ever had. 294 dispensed a fluid similar in appearance to cola. The researcher identified it as a mixed drink he recalls having at a bar during his bachelor party and was convinced it was the best drink. Blank did not know what ingredients were in the drink besides rum and cola. Further tests are scheduled to ascertain how 294 gathers information. Mimetic, probably. This thing, my theory is that it, like, the Foundation itself created it, put it there, and, like, just mimetically culled themselves from, like, knowing that they put it there. They're, like, something that we made for ourselves, and we're like, we don't need to know about it too much, just put it there. Okay. Addendum 294-001A. Under the same conditions, Agent Blank, the best drink I've ever had. 294 delivered a dark fluid topped with white foam, which was later identified as Vienna Lager. The cup was printed with a color picture of 5 men and 2 women drinking beer on the beach. Blank was one of them. In his briefing, Agent Blank confirmed that his favorite drink ever was a Vienna Lager he consumed at the beach with his friends. It has now been confirmed that 294 has the ability to directly gather information from someone's mind in order to comply with the given conditions. Yeah. You don't want to break this computer. This thing's important. This thing's too important. Addendum 294-Q01. Subject keyed the perfect drink. The subject dispensed a cup containing an odorless lavender liquid. After drinking the liquid, the subject appeared to go into shock. The subject later committed suicide, leaving a note which read, "I'm sorry, but at this point everything's just one big letdown." Requesting such a drink again is highly discouraged. None of the components of the drink have yet been identified. Huh. A drink of pure perfection. Addendum 294T01. Subject keyed in something Cassie will like. The device was heard to hum for about 3 seconds before dispensing an empty cup. Printed on the side of the cup was an image of a traditional soda fountain glass, filled with something brown and topped with whipped cream. Upon introduction to SCP-085, it was identified by her as a chocolate banana milkshake and judged delicious. Addendum 294W. Researcher keyed in request for a cup of music. 294 produced a clear, sparkling fluid that tasted vaguely alcoholic. Following ingestion, subject reported feeling and not hearing a continuous rhythm, and demonstrated the ability to move and even dance with a certain fluidity that he had not previously shown. Testing on other abstract concepts is continuing. A cup of water that will make my mind 300% more powerful at no detrimental cost permanently. I would probably phrase that wrong, but there you go. Like, we make the field agents start drinking, like, IQ water. There you go. Put on your IQ diaper and, like, fucking drink smart water. Addendum 294AB. During a mass security breach, Agent Blank requested a cup of pertinent medical knowledge while taking shelter inside the second-floor break room. Of the 4 agents in the room, Agent Blank was the only one who was not injured. 294 poured a cup of clear green liquid. Following the ingestion of this substance, Agent Blank began mending the other agents' wounds in a manner consistent with Foundation medical training. Agent Blank no longer has the medical training that the liquid provided, and other attempts to recreate the effect have failed. The agent has speculated that this event was an emergency measure taken by the object to ensure self-preservation. I would assume, too, like, will, intention, and this psychic link factor, all together in tandem. Addendum 294AC. Dr. Blank requested My Life Story from 294. 294 made humming noises and shook violently for approximately 3 minutes before providing a highly viscous, opaque black liquid. Upon consumption, Dr. Blank reported that he remembered everything that had ever happened to him. Following this test, Dr. Blank entered his office. This was just so fucking funny and silly to me. Following this test, Dr. Blank entered his office and returned 48 hours later with a 538-page autobiography. I mean, that's just fucking useful. You spend 2 days in your office, you come out with a whole book about your life. Damn, okay. Addendum 294AD. Researcher produced request consisting solely of the phrase, "Surprise me." Device produced an opaque cup containing normal water, later determined to have been heated to approximately 200 degrees Celsius. Upon receiving vibration from transport, the contents of the cup turned into steam, violently spraying boiling water in a 2-meter radius. Yeah. Addendum 294AF. Researcher produced request for blood of Christ. 294 vibrated and produced the message Hic est enim calix sanguinis me. Then produced a paper drinking cup containing approximately 0.12 liters of red grape wine. Addendum 294AG. Researcher produced requests for cup of Smilodon blood, cup of passenger pigeon blood, and cup of Thomas Jefferson's blood, and received 3 out-of-range errors. Time factor there. Temporally displaced blood. Then maybe it won't say out of range. Out of range. Out of rage. I need rage blood. Addendum 294AH. A D-class personnel with IQ of 99 and low curiosity scores was given written instructions about what to request. There you go. The D-class personnel produced a request for blood of Canis lupus and requested a cup of liquid subsequently identified as wolf blood. The D-class personnel next produced a request for saliva of Equus ferus caballus. The D-class personnel next produced a request for saliva of Equus ferus caballus and received a cup of liquid subsequently identified as horse saliva. The D-class personnel next produced a request for urine of Phascolarctos cinereus and received a cup of liquid subsequently identified as koala urine. The D-class personnel next produced a request for cerebrospinal fluid of Phoberomus pattersoni and received a cup of liquid currently undergoing analysis. It is to be noted that the D-class personnel next produced a request for cerebrospinal fluid of Phoberomus pattersoni and received a cup of liquid currently undergoing analysis. It is to be noted that Phoberomus pattersoni went extinct during the late Miocene period. It is to be noted that Phoberomus pattersoni went extinct during the late Miocene epoch, approximately 8 million years ago. This is like a curio. Like, if the cerebrospinal fluid's intact, 8 million years ago is like the DNA shouldn't even be intact, right? Or is it, I don't remember the half-life of like ancient DNA. Is it 100 million year, or is it even less than that? Right? I think it's even less than that. It's like 100,000 year, right? So intact cerebral spinal fluid would mean it's either still alive somewhere out in like the cosmos, or maybe it just depends. Aliens have some of them on their ship. Addendum 294 AI. Dr. King produced request for a cup of room temperature superconductor and received a cup of apple juice with seeds floating in it. Smart. Addendum 294 AJ. Dr. Menchu produced a request for a cup of D151839's leukemia and received a cup of fluid. The fluid was microscopically examined and found to contain leukemic blast cells, which were a genetic match to D151839. A second request for a cup of D151839's leukemia resulted in an out-of-range error. D151839 was subsequently found to be free of leukemia. However, within 15 days, the leukemia recurred. Other 294 experiments are currently awaiting approval. Appliance Euclid Exchange featured food teleportation. This was very popular for good reason. It was also it was last edited on April Fool's Day. Okay. Alright, item number 295, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. 295 is to be contained within a 50 meter by 50 meter concrete room, with all surfaces coated with flame-retardant material. All personnel entering and exiting containment must comply with Level 3 containment screening. 3 flame-retardant exposure suits are to be maintained on the premises. Are required for any and all testing involving 295. Feeding will occur once per week, and consists of a meal of 20 kilograms of naturally grown pine wood, harvested near the Site-19 facility. Description: 295 is a number of caterpillars resembling Syntomata epilies in appearance. A single specimen of 295 is capable of creating an unidentifiable substance which has several unique qualities attributed to it. 295 possesses similar physical attributes to a common caterpillar, with a notable exception being 295's incredible speed when in pursuit of sustenance. When flammable material is introduced into 295's environment, it will quickly move to attempt to consume it. The substance produced by 295, hereby known as 295-1, is a viscous fluid that possesses natural bioluminescence of variable intensity, averaging at roughly 150,000 lumens, or lum. The intensity... Look at weird fucking shitty idiot that just like lays on their truck every hour. Where like, I can't even get sleep because this motherfucker blasts. Listen to that. I gotta blast the whole thing because I don't want to destroy your ears like they want to do to everybody. Okay. Yeah, like once again though, like good example of how I'm the bad guy. Like I deserve to get like punished for literally every single thing I do, including like reading this. Not even just for like, you know, asshole in his truck, but everybody. Everybody, not every single person in the world, but everybody that like has any like meaningful leverage on me. Yeah. The substance produced by 295, hereby known as 295-1, is a viscous fluid that The substance produced by 295, hereby known as 295-1, is a viscous fluid that possesses natural bioluminescence of variable intensity, averaging at roughly 150,000 lum. The substance produced by 295, hereby known as 295-1, is a viscous fluid that possesses natural bioluminescence of variable intensity, averaging at roughly 150,000 lm. The intensity fades over time, but sufficient heat is capable of renewing its incandescence. However, the danger lies in its other quality, which is its ability to cause violent combustion in any flammable object it comes in contact with. All matter destroyed in this manner leaves no ash or other byproducts behind, although an increase in mass has been observed in specimens of 295 after combustion. A notable exception is living animal matter, which 295-1 is incapable of affecting in all circumstances. 295 is capable of reproduction given sufficient matter to combust, or when a specific mass has been attained. When this occurs, 295 will pupate, forming a shell of dense carbon with a 295 is capable of reproduction given sufficient matter to combust, or when a specific mass has been obtained. (295) is capable of reproduction given sufficient matter to combust, or when a specific mass has been attained. When this occurs, 295 will pupate, forming a shell of dense carbon with a similar molecular structure to coal. Once a week has passed, both the pupa and the specimen will combust, while the ashes reform into 2 additional caterpillars, after which the process begins anew. Occasionally, only one specimen of 295 will reform from the resultant ashes rather than a pair. These ashes will not always reform immediately and can remain inert. These ashes will not always reform immediately and can remain inert. Ashes left on personnel's clothing can reform later and further spread 295's population. 295 was discovered in blank Ukraine after a series of improbable and violent 295 was discovered in blank Ukraine after a series of improbable and volatile forest fires had reduced a large swath of forests into barren wastes. Agent Blank, who had family in the area, noted that the fires had left not a single thing in their wake. When Dr. Blank was dispatched to investigate, he found a complete lack of life and vegetation, with the exception of a species of caterpillar that was not local to the area. What had alarmed him more, however, was the sudden destruction of his clothing and belongings by a swarm of starved 295s. After several attempts and more than a few changes of clothing, 295 was brought to Site-19 and safely contained. 295A... Addendum 295A. Despite months of regular feeding, the number of specimens have neither declined nor have they increased since being contained. The cycle of reproduction has stayed consistent, with the majority of recorded combustion resulting in 2 new specimens. How the population has kept itself in check is unknown at this time. How the population has kept itself in check is unknown at this time. Addendum 295B. See Incident 295K. Addendum 295C. It's possible that there are still wild specimens of 295 out in the wild, considering the trouble we have containing it in the lab. Any attempts to contain populations of 295 in the field are to be made on location, with the intent to isolate and terminate. Any attempts to contain populations of 295 in the field are to be made on location with the intent to isolate and terminate. With the intent to isolate and terminate. God, I can't fucking read. Any attempts to contain populations of 295 in the field are to be made on location with the intent to isolate and terminate. Note: this stuff has some serious potential for weaponization. If we could get enough of it out of the little worms. Find a way to carry and dispense it and you'd put napalm to shame. Agent Blank. Addendum 295D, Experiment Log 295-1A. This links to a different fucking article. Addendum 295E, see Experiment Log 295-1B. Okay. It's not that long. Experiment Log Dr. Kondraki, testing practical uses of 295-1. Experiment Log of Dr. Kondraki, testing practical uses of 295-1. Date: single blank, double blank, quadruple blank, 2 double blank, single blank, quadruple blank. Experiment 1, human consumption testing. Materials: 5 milliliters of 295-1. Procedure: Class D personnel given 295-1 to ingest. Result: subject reported mild heartburn and nausea, but no serious adverse effects observed. Subject's digestive system temporarily operated at 25% additional efficiency. Experiment 2, usage as a portable source of light. Materials: 20 milliliters of 295-1. Glass tubing, rubber grip, lighter. Procedure: glass tubing filled with 295-1 reinforced by rubber grip. Result: device produced sufficient light to completely illuminate an area of 31 meters squared at 16,145 LX for several hours. Applying a lighter to the surface of the glass relit the solution completely. Okay. So, like, very combustible. Experiment 3, usage as an incendiary device. Materials: 200 milliliter of 295-1, glass globe. Procedure: globe filled with 295-1 and thrown into a wooden test structure. Result: all material that came in contact with 295-1 instantly combusted as expected. Remaining structure of the building burned abnormally quickly from secondary configuration. Remaining structure of the building burned abnormally quickly from secondary conflagration. Only 20% of the structure's initial mass remained after testing. A note: immediately following the conclusion of the test, approximately 56% of captive 295 specimens began to putate. Note: immediately following the conclusion of the test, approximately 56% of captive 295 specimens began to pupate. Dr. Kondraki. Experiment 4. Usage as lighter fluid. Materials: 100 milliliter of 295-1, 1 bag of consumer-grade charcoal, mid-range coal grill, 2 beef burger patties. Procedure: 295-1 poured onto coal while beef patties are prepared. Result: data expunged. Note: I cannot fathom the lack of sense this required. Consider your position as an assistant terminated, and your security level revoked. I hope that gives you something to think about in between skin grafts. Dr. Kondraki. Holy shit. Before I even reached the conclusion of that one, I was like, yeah, that's going to result in, like, huge burns. Experiment supplement. Okay. That's fucking morbid. At least they survived. Experiment log of Agent T blank. Testing practical uses of 295-1. Experiments overseen and approved by Dr. Blank. Date: single blank, double blank, quadruple blank. Experiment 1. Usage as lighter fluid revised. Materials: 1 milliliter 295-1, 500 grams consumer. Materials: 1 milliliter 295-1, 500 grams consumer grade charcoal, mid-range coal grill, 2 times 100 grams beef burger patties. Procedure: coals arranged in standard rough cone. 295-1 applied to 3 coals. Tester wore standard silver suit, heat protection gear. Result: the treated coals combusted almost instantly as expected. Remaining coals ignited very quickly. Patties cooked in approximately half expected time. Cooked patties, when tested in laboratory, showed no evidence of any unusual component. Note: as expected, the secondary fires produce only normal combustion products and effects. And whoever came up with the first lighter fluid test, you people are supposed to be research assistants. Perhaps next time you should do some research when you design a test. Dr. Kondraki let you off easy. Agent T blank. Holy shit. This is like old Foundation talking. Okay. Experiment 2. Possible application for rescue work. Materials: 1 D-class personnel, 1 steel girder, 1 milliliter 295-1, 20 grams thermite paste. Okay. Procedure: Class D's leg trapped under girder. Procedure: Class D's leg trapped under girder. A line of thermite paste was placed on the girder upslope from the pinned leg. 295-1 applied to the thermite paste. Result: the thermite ignited and combusted almost instantly, severing the girder with almost no splatter or spark. The upslope section fell to the ground. Water sprayed over the severed end, steamed only slightly and briefly. D-class was not harmed. Note: just what I'd hoped for. The thermite released its energy and burned through the steel it was actually touching, but the reaction was too fast for much heat to transfer to the rest of the girder. This could be a very useful intrusion technique in addition to its rescue applications. Agent T blank. Yeah, as expected. Good for, like, breach and clear. Experiment 3. Effects in oxygen-deprived environment. This might be interesting. This could be useful. Materials: 1 filled 10-liter aquarium, 1 lead weight, 1 times 100 gram untreated oak block, 1 non-flammable syringe, 1 milliliter 295-1. Procedure: the oak sample was weighted down in the aquarium, then injected with 295-1. Result: over a period of approximately 2 seconds, the oak burned to charcoal. Note: interesting, apparently there was enough air in the channels to support very limited combustion. Next time I'll try waterlogged wood. Agent T. Blank. Experiment supplement. I'm not really sure how you want to properly achieve the combustion underwater. But that could provide, like, really useful. I don't know. Underwater fire. Alright. Alive Euclid invertebrate species. Let's move on. 296, item number 296, object class, primary object classification safe, secondary object classification safe, /Euclid /Keter. Special containment procedures. Armed containment site 03 has been in the process of reconstruction since the discovery of 296 in the geometric center of the destruction caused by enactment of emergency protocol XT quadruple blank. Refer to document number 1E-027 addendum 1 viewable in blank. Reinstallation of tactical thermonuclear devices in a primary perimeter. Reinstallation of tactical thermonuclear devices in a primary perimeter between the established 100. Reinstallation of tactical thermonuclear devices in a primary perimeter between the established 100-kilometer quarantine perimeter and the exposed region of 296 has also been initiated. As 296 has already exhibited resilience in the face of annihilation-grade weaponry, it is suggested that the TTN devices be calibrated to deliver a high-yield, low-radius explosion, so as to minimize damage to ACS-03's existing structures. Holy fucking shit. Holy fuck, okay. Holy shit. All personnel, agents, and researchers assigned to 296 must have no criminal background prior to and during SCP service. Any incidents approximating criminal behavior, as well as suspicions of possible criminal behavior, are to be considered disqualification for assignment to duties directly relating to 296. Description: upon examination of the blast crater occupying ACS-03's previous location, a stone channel was discovered in the crater's geometric center. The stone is of an unknown composition and was utterly unaffected by the detonations of the failsafe devices utilized by Emergency Protocol XT quadruple blank. It is unknown whether the structure designated 296 existed prior to the annihilation of ACS-03's previous installations. However, the contents of 296's interior suggest it was somehow created in the explosion. What? Huh? What are you saying? You're saying... Huh? No, what? So, the destruction of, like, this nuclear weapons grade facility installation from, like, a small missile impact of, like, thermonuclear detonation, we created a different thing? But it's, like, of complex significance. Huh? From the exterior, 296's entry channel appears to be simply a set of carved, fitted stones arranged around a vertical rectangular shaft. They extend to the ground for several feet before light simply ceases to penetrate and enters into darkness. Initial attempts to investigate followed standard procedure using Class D personnel. Each maintained contact for a few moments before failing to report back. After several personnel were lost in this manner, robotic surveillance was initiated and revealed the presence of an amphitheater-like structure around which were seated 56 figures of similar appearance. Each was roughly humanoid and made of a substance similar at first glance to ice. Thermal scans indicated a variety of temperatures varying from figure to figure, and most did not conform to temperatures low enough to support solidification of water. Surveillance also discovered the remains of the Class D personnel. The deceased exhibited the following characteristics. Personnel A. A was found beside a figure with cylindrical wounds extending through her skull, one each surrounding the previous location of each eye socket, one passing laterally through the skull and excising the ears and all associated organs, one excising the nose, one excising the mouth. Subject's skin had also been removed whole and rested beside the corpse, along with the cylinders of bone, flesh, and viscera that had been removed from her skull, which rested atop her skin. Wounds confirmed to match those inflicted by Euclid-class SCP triple blank, confirmed to have been present at ACS-03 during initial installation's annihilation. Personnel B. B was found collapsed on the ground beside a second figure with what initially appeared to be total destruction of his skeletal system. Autopsy later revealed the complete liquefaction of all interior bodily systems. Damage confirmed to match those inflicted by Euclid-class SCP triple blank, also confirmed to have been present at ACS-03 during enactment of Emergency Protocol XT quadruple blank. Damage confirmed to match those inflicted by Euclid-class SCP triple blank, also confirmed to have been present at ACS-03 during enactment of Emergency Protocol XT quadruple blank. Personnel C through G. Personnel C through G were found beside a third figure. All 5 personnel occupied roughly the same space at different angles. Still technically collectively alive, the resulting recombinant creature was quite obviously both insane and Still technically collectively alive, the resulting recombinant creature was quite obviously both insane and irreparably crippled and was later terminated on site. Analysis of records pertaining to Keter-class SCP triple blank indicated conformity to exposure to its exponential recombination effect. SCP triple blank was also confirmed to have been contained within ACS-03 at time of annihilation. So we detonated this recombination SCP and it recombinated itself into something completely different. It recombined. Surveillance was forcibly terminated before further information could be gathered. The final image transferred by the robot was that of the figure beside the still active form of Personnel C through G shattering, and the form of SCP triple blank appearing amidst this debris. 76 Class D personnel, 23 agents, and 5 researchers were lost before sufficient information regarding SCP triple blank could be dispatched to allow for the forced initiation. What the fuck? 76 Class D personnel, 23 agents, and 5 researchers were lost before sufficient information regarding SCP triple blank could be dispatched to allow for the forced initiation of its hibernation cycle. SCP triple blank has since been relocated to Armed Biocontainment Area 14 and subjected to containment in following with its original procedures. Oh. No further attempts to investigate 296 have been made as of this time. Proposals for controlled, systematic testing of each figure has been suggested by Dr. Blank Blank, but have been denied on the grounds that the risk of releasing SCP triple blank, although its presence within the amphitheater has yet to be confirmed, is too great. These, local mystery SCPs are always so funny to me. It's okay, we had to obscure it because it's, related to the primary one, and it's just weird. Addendum 296-1. Dr. Blank Blank has proposed that the SCP... it could be for any reason, I don't know. Addendum 296-1. Dr. Blank Blank has proposed that the SCP objects lost during the destruction of ACS-03's original facility were somehow repositioned within... Addendum 296-1. Dr. Blank Blank has proposed that the SCP objects lost during the destruction of ACS-03's original facility were somehow repositioned within 296's interior. The reason for this is unknown, as is the cause for their apparent containment within the ice figures. The theory is supported by the remarkable similarity between the number of SCP objects thought lost to the detonation and the number of figures within 296. The theory is supported by the remarkable similarity between the number of SCP objects thought lost to the detonation and the number of figures within 296. However, the inexplicable 56th figure poses the significant possibility of a threat. Further investigation is postponed. Maybe a new object was generated? Addendum 296-2. Dr. Blank Blank was discovered emerging from within the interior of 296 on double blank 2000 single blank. She was immediately apprehended and subjected to questioning, upon which several facts were made clear. Dr. Blank Blank had, against policy, falsified entry documents and passed the security checkpoints necessary to investigate 296's interior. Upon her entry, she reported she had an instant of feeling psychically violated, followed by immediate unconsciousness. When she awoke, she claims that one of the figures contacted her telepathically. She could not identify which one at the time. When she awoke, she claims one of the figures contacted her telepathically. She could not identify which one at that time, as there was no corresponding visible stimuli, but she insists it is the 56th figure, the additional figure not corresponding to an SCP object previously stored within ACS-03. The figure communicated that it was known in our language as Judgment. The D-Class personnel initially admitted to its interior were found, as Dr. Blank Blank put it, guilty, and were summarily executed by way of utilization of the SCP objects contained within the figures. It equated the figures to jail cells, and implied the release of SCP Triple Blank was analogous to early release for good behavior. She related that Judgment will allow innocent personnel entry into the interior of 296, but that it would be responsible for ultimate assignment of guilt or lack of guilt of the personnel itself. The judgment that machine... Wait, hold on. The judgment machine that turns people into SCPs. You put a D-Class in there, and they're gonna fucking come back out as something entirely different. The fucking 55 other objects in there were probably just part of this shit. I don't know. This is weird. They might have just returned into their original association despite, like, being disassociated or whatever. Addendum 296-3. Communications between Dr. Blank Blank's research team and Judgment have revealed new information regarding the figures within 296. They have compiled a list of the SCP objects contained within 296's figures, identical to ACS-03's original contents, as well as a map of the figures and their correlating objects. Judgment has also supplied a number for each figure, which he states corresponds to the number of services it must perform before release. Huh? It is assumed that the services to which Judgment refers are executions, as there is no way to know whether the information provided is accurate besides expending enough personnel to release the concerned object. Further testing has been halted pending other possible detection methods. So we funnel in enough prisoners to, like, swap out for SCP objects. We, like, just give it, it's like Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. We just trade in, like, weaker units for the better units for this task. It is to be noted that SCP Triple Blank's tally is quite low. All personnel are to be reminded that under no circumstances are any personnel with It is to be noted that SCP triple blank's tally is quite low. All personnel are to be reminded that under no circumstances are any personnel with suspected criminal behavioral patterns, past or present, to be allowed access to 296. Failure to adhere to this directive will result in termination for all parties involved. SCP triple blank cannot be allowed to be released. I see. Euclid Foundation made humanoid, Keter, location, safe, structure, subterranean. So we blew this facility up, and objects surrounded all of the objects within the facility as like a meta foundation object. And then it's like a meta foundation. Okay. We've already explored some of that stuff, but okay. 297, item number 297, object class safe. Special containment procedures. 297 is to be kept in a standard lockbox at Site 19's high-value item storage facility. Standard positive action defenses, explosive, chemical, biological, and memetic, are to be in place at all times, according to a standard operating procedure. Personnel wishing to utilize 297 for experimental or field purposes must fill out a Form 32 and submit it to the head of research and containment. Description: 297 is a transparent plastic vibrator, approximately 30 centimeters in length, 5 centimeters in width. Examination has determined that the internal structure has been heavily altered, and that the standard 6-volt power supply has been converted into what appears to be a micronized nuclear reactor powered by a small quantity of plutonium. Nuclear sex toy? In addition, the standard power/intensity controls have been altered from the normal on/off switch with secondary intensity dial to a single 5-stage selector switch. The bottom 4 intensity levels, off, low, medium, high, appear to be within normal parameters for such a device, and can be used safely for such purposes if so desired. I guess that's science. When turned to the highest intensity setting, parentheses labeled, quote, suicide, 297's vibration frequency swiftly increases to upwards of 200,000 kHz. If the upper portion of the device is touched to any solid material, 297 will change frequency to one that causes a positive harmonic feedback loop in the object, causing the object to lose cohesion within 60 seconds of continual contact. This invariably kills organisms that it is exposed to. Cohesion? How do you even prevent this thing from... A vibrational frequency of 200,000 kilohertz? How do you even fucking handle this thing to touch it to like a steel cube and cause it to lose cohesion? My man, you got like tongs holding onto that super dildo, okay? Fam, your arm's gonna fucking melt. Huh? Experimentation has determined that 297 can disintegrate a 1 meter cube of concrete into powder within 10 seconds. The time required for other objects varies based on the density and harmonic properties of the material. Due to the similarities between the effects of 297 and SCP-1012, investigation into whether both effects are variations of the same phenomena are ongoing. What is this, like the tactical missile vagina or whatever? What? Oh, it's a broadcast frequency tower that does similar effects. I see. Addendum: circumstances of retrieval. 297 was retrieved from the 3rd basement of the parking structure of a 30-story apartment building in Los Angeles, California on double blank, quadruple blank. According to eyewitnesses, the device bored a vertical hole through the entire building's northwestern corner, starting from the 30th floor and proceeding floor by floor According to eyewitnesses, the device bored a vertical hole through the entire building's northwestern corner, starting from the 30th floor and proceeding floor by floor through the entire structure until a maintenance worker neutralized the device by turning it off. All witnesses were detained and administered Class A amnestics, and the device was retrieved by Foundation personnel. I guess the tip is the only part that is, like, fucking dangerous? A large quantity of organic slurry, later identified as a liquefied human body, was found on the 30th floor at the upper limit of the damage. Other works by this author. Oh, this is Dr. Clef, huh? I see stuff related to Dr. Clef, I don't know. Okay. Appliance, electronic, safe, toy, vibration. I would argue it's not safe if you're not paying attention. You'll turn into goop. You'll turn into goop pile. (298) Object Class 298 Special Containment Procedures. 298 is to remain disassembled at all times when experimentation is not being performed. As per standard protocol, each piece of 298 has been stamped with an individualized serial number and radio transmitter. Due to 298's effect on replacement parts, requests to replace original components of 298 must receive special approval. I'm just now realizing that we have almost no image. I was going to show this at the beginning and I didn't really think of it. Yeah, it's like up in the air even with... It's up in the air whether this is even related, but there you go. There's 291 at least. Anyway. Description. 298 is a chamber organ of indeterminate manufacture. It is believed to have been created sometime in the 1400s, in the then Holy Roman Empire. As per all pipe organs created before 1450, it has no stop controls. It is unknown if 298 has possessed the unexplained physical effects from playing it for the duration of its existence, or if an unknown event altered it at some time in the past. When played, 298 induces the blood within human subjects to slowly expel itself from the subjects' bodies, while simultaneously assuming the consistency of fibrous matter such as cellulose. 298 has not been observed to affect the blood of subjects standing within a semicircular arc of 30 degrees with a radius of 2 meters behind the keyboard of the organ. While this effect is taking place, surviving subjects report being paralyzed by a tremendous physical force. The effect of 298 only lasts while the organ is being played. These effects prove fatal in most cases, correlated closely with the duration that 298 is played. Those affected by 298 show symptoms of shock consistent with blood loss. Those affected by 298 show symptoms of shock consistent with blood loss or hypertension. It has been determined that the mechanism of effect of 298 is purely sonic in nature. Though in physical proximity to 298 while it was being played, subjects placed within a soundproof chamber were completely unaffected by the device. Experimentation with active noise control has not yet been able to completely neutralize the effect of 298. The most advanced noise control systems have reduced the effects to a limited hypertension, as well as feelings of intense pain and pressure as reported by experimental subjects. Well, gee, hopefully someday everybody can stop feeling the pain of me streaming whenever I, reduce my audio completely to everybody hearing me. Just that includes the viewer too, huh? Just whatever. Anyway, good joke. High-fidelity recordings of the tones emitted by 298 do not replicate the effects of 298. It appears there is an additional sonic component of the SCP which has not yet been discovered, which provides for the physical transformation of the blood. Examination of the physical, chemical, and that's interesting. It's like quantum mnemonics or whatever, but on a less harmful level. Examination of the physical, chemical, and elemental composition of the altered blood has yielded some data. The blood expelled from the body retains its ability to absorb oxygen. In an oxygen-deprived environment, the blood assumes a dark brown color. In a vacuum environment, the hemoglobin deoxygenates and assumes a purple color. Upon introduction of sufficient oxygen, the color change to bright red is nearly instantaneous. These effects are entirely consistent with the chemical properties of normal blood. Further analytic chemistry has, for the most part, been able to determine that the altered blood is identical to regular blood in terms of its chemistry. This is like a human flesh sac for, like, scientific purposes, like biomedical use. It's also, like, fucking lethal to the practitioner components that we, like, harvest from. In terms of physical properties, however, blood affected by 298 is completely... In terms of physical properties, however, blood affected by 298 is a completely different material. It possesses extraordinary elastic properties. Stress experiments to date have not yet reached the yield limit. None of the observed deformations of the altered blood material displayed any degree of inelasticity. It has required an extraordinary amount of force to cause the tendrils of altered blood material to break. The greatest successes in this area have been achieved by actions altering the chemical composition of the blood, e.g. such as burning. Blood affected by 298 will remain at a temperature of near 38 degrees Celsius (100 degrees 100 degrees Fahrenheit) for the duration of the phenomena. Further changes to physical properties are inconsistent and appear to be somewhat related to the physical audible tones emitted by 298. The changes are not permanent. If the organ has not been played for 47 seconds, any altered blood returns to a liquid state. The appearance that the altered blood takes once it expels itself from the body has been likened to leafless trees. The fuck? Placing components of 298 in other organs such that they become a working piece of the other organ will cause this organ to generate effects related to 298. Though not as dramatic a physical transformation, affected organs have been able to generate spontaneous bleeding in test subjects as well as increased viscosity in blood. This generally includes the player as well. What? Like the player trying to stretch the blood? What? What are you talking about? Over time, some of the original components of 298 have required maintenance and replacement. Replacement of individual components with suitable replications do not seem to affect the functioning of the mechanism as a whole. Though this effect is not immediately observed in the replacement parts, over time these parts acquired the ability to generate effects when played in organs otherwise unrelated to 298. I'm confused, like the organ practitioner... that's right. The radius affects the practitioner. I forgot about that, my bad. What the fuck are you talking about? 298 will affect blood drawn from humans before they are exposed to its effects so long as such blood is near human body temperature. As such, further research with human subjects is to be suspended. Further tests into the physical properties of the altered blood can be continued with blood harvested from volunteers. Addenda. 298A. The pieces of 298 are not to be destroyed. Further research into the extra-physical mechanism behind the sudden change in the physical properties of the blood of humans must be undertaken. The benefit of being able to replicate the mechanism of the transformation of the physical properties of common substances could revolutionize industry and construction. 298B. No. The pending request to use the Foundation's sensitive interferometer on research with 298 has been denied. While I do not wish to denigrate the research wing of our group, I really think you guys need to glance at the bottom line of some of the things you request. 298 is just not important enough to warrant the expense. 05 double blank. We're saying we could upgrade potential workers to be like super stretchy warriors in the Amazon warehouse. And they do the work of like 55,000 people. 05's arguing that even just like fucking several thousand attempts into figuring this out is like, fuck it. We got better shit than that. We have a robot that can quantumly teleport all those Amazon boxes into its domain, go fuck off and drink a beer, and then put them all in the right places in an instant. In a nanosecond, it's drank the beer and all the things are delivered on it. Amazon fired him because it's too efficient. Acoustic artifact, blood, safe, telekinetic transfiguration. 299. Item number 299, object class Keter. Special containment procedures. A 200-meter wide forest of 299 is to be contained in an underground biodome, parentheses, area 299, in the redacted desert. Other specimens encountered are to be incinerated. No plant life is to come into contact with 299 outside of controlled testing. Areas infested by 299 should be considered Class 8 hazard zones, firebombed immediately, and monitored for 4 weeks. Any further infestation is to be incinerated, as well as all wildlife present on the site. Description: 299 is an arboriform organism characterized by black, sharp-pointed branches. Closer inspection reveals that each instance of 299 is connected to neighboring trees by its roots. Prolonged contact converts these neighboring trees into another instance of 299. This is 299's only known method of reproduction. Addendum 299-1. 299 infection will result from prolonged contact with any material from 299. Conversion time varies by the size of the infectee. Generally, after a few minutes of exposure, the infected plant begins to shed its leaves. Low branches shift downward to a height of 30 to 100 centimeters and taper to a point. High branches retain leaves and shift toward the top of the tree, forming a dense canopy and making overhead identification impossible. Addendum 299-2. Microscopic analysis of low branches reveals that these points are composed of the same material as the rest of the infected plant, and are remarkably sharp. Direct contact with the point of a branch from 299 is unadvised, as even a sliver of 299 material embedded in skin is known to produce disastrous results. See experiment log 299-1. Vine-like tendrils grow upward from the roots of 299, reaching heights of up to 2 meters. These tendrils are prehensile and elastic. Organic objects entering close proximity are violently seized, impaled upon the lower branches, and incorporated into the organism via gradual conversion on the molecular level. Holy fuck. This one seems very related, so related to the last one. Specimens of 299 release chemicals known to spread throughout the immediate area and caused heightened paranoia and aggression in most animals, including humans. Under the influence of these chemicals, groups of people tend to split up and wander the forest alone, making them more likely to pass through an infested area. This is like the spooky tree in the forest while all your friends are like camping out and you all get lost and die. Because you went camping to have a spooky time and then Jason shows up. This is just like the fucking spooky camping story. Addendum 299-3. Examination of material harvested from 299 reveals that the wood is brittle and similar in composition to date expunged. A single cell of 299 will retain its infectious nature and is capable of reconfiguring an entire organism upon introduction. Experiment log 299-1. Item maple seedling. Acrosaccharum, times 1. Researcher Dr. Blank, test record. A sample of matter from 299 is introduced to seedling. Over 45 minutes. The seedling is completely converted into a specimen of 299, retaining its height and approximate size. Seedling incinerated. Item, oak tree, Quercus alba, times 1. Researcher Dr. Blank, test record. Oak tree transplanted into containment area of 299 over 3 hours. The tree is completely converted into a specimen of 299, retaining its height and approximate size. Matter taken from new specimen is consistent with matter from neighboring specimens. Item, sunflower, Helianthus annuus, times 1. Researcher Dr. Blank, test record. A sample of matter from 299 is introduced to sunflower. Over 10 minutes. The plant is completely converted into a specimen of 299, retaining its height and size. The flower petals are blackened and tapered into spikes, consistent with 299 spike branches. Tendrils are frail and incapable of grasping large objects. Specimen's trunk snapped upon introduction of researcher's foot. Remains incinerated. So it kind of depends on, like, the introduction material. Huh. Item, European grapevine, Vitis vinifera. Confined to pot and growing upward along a trellis, times 1. Researcher Dr. Blank, test record. Sample of matter from 299 introduced to grapevine. Subject converted within 30 minutes. Subject detached from trellis and adopted prehensile nature of 299 tendrils. Spike protrudes from rooted area. Item, results of previous experiment. Pig, sus domestica, times 1. Researcher Dr. Blank, test record. Pig introduced to testing area. Subject showed signs of agitation. Upon investigation of 299, subject was violently seized and constricted, eventually suffocating before impalement upon a spike. Specimen was left in containment and observed for 3 days. Over that time, the mass of pig and tendril tissues were integrated into the main vine. Spikes grew from its base, the roots extended and tendrils grew from them, and branches grew from the top of the tree, spreading buds and leaves. Specimen was incinerated. Yeah, it's like a fucking... Look at, like, the magnesium science experiment with manganese oxide or whatever, where it, like, flumes out and turns you into, like, an eldritch tentacle. It did that, but, like, with consuming meat. It was an excellent chemical reaction for it. It loved that. Notes, 299 appears to not be limited to trees. Infected plants seem to react slightly differently, depending on their unique biology. All specimens, however, eventually become 299 trees if given time to grow and change form. Item, Venus flytrap, Dionea. Item, Venus flytrap, Dionea muscipula, times 1. Researcher Dr. Blank, test record data expunged. Addendum 299-4. O5 Command has requested that researchers refrain from experimentation with carnivorous plants. That's fucking scary. Item, Pig sus domestica, times 1. Researcher Dr. Blank, test record. Matter from 299 injected into pig. Pig began squealing and moving uncontrollably until it fell to the ground and convulsed. Upon expiration, fine root-like hairs were observed to grow from the underside of the pig. The flesh of the pig underwent a transformation into 299 material, starting from the point of injection. After 2 hours, the pig was observed to have become another instance of 299, complete with tendrils and leaves, subject incinerated. It just depends on, like, the absorption method, whatever, the consumption method. It almost behaves like a fungus. Addendum 299-5. As of double blank 20 double blank 2000 double blank. The trees in area 299 have begun deviating from the standard form of 299. The trees in area 299 have begun deviating from the standard form of SCP-299, with several growing in what appears to be with several growing what appears to be white flowers up to 2 meters from ground level. Following standard protocol, D-class personnel were sent in to determine if the new mutation was dangerous. Upon approaching the flowers, the petals unfurled into highly mobile tendrils which immediately ensnared the head of one of the D-class before pulling him back to the tree. All personnel were immediately removed from the area and placed in a 48-hour quarantine. Yeah. That's wise. It could be soporific or something. Like in the air. Subject was observed emerging from the tree line approximately 5 hours after being ensnared, apparently unharmed. Subject was then put in a separate 48-hour quarantine in accordance to protocol. Subject protested vocally against the quarantine, stating that he had to see the sun. 10 hours into the quarantine, subject spontaneously lost consciousness and several branches of 299 began growing from subject's head and torso. Subject was terminated and then incinerated along with the growths. Changes to the containment protocol to respond to this development are under review. Something tells me if we gave this guy the sun and put him outside, he just would have grown exponentially. The thing wanted to evolve way too fast, I think. Contagion, Keter, plant, predatory, tree. Alright, SCP-300. There's an image. SCP-300 photographed prior to Foundation containment is the description of the image. Okay. It appears to be like a carafe, or like a decanter. The name of the image is SCP-300-2.png. Really, it does just look like a container of liquid. Maybe alcohol or something, or perfume, or water. The point is, it's a crystalline carafe, or whatever, a crystalline jar, small potion vial, if you will, which has a sun adornment jewel on one side visible, with metal doily-like decorations adorning it, with further gems along the surface of the structure. It has some type of brass and wood base holding it. The entry point for the potion-like vial structure, the part where you would remove the glass-adorned handle here for topping it, there's another brass segment, which it kind of looks like an instrument. In the background, we can just really ascertain, Grandma's house. It looks like a very ornate, flourished, just like the object. There's a very flourished metal. The background has a very flourished blind for, whatever the window is there or whatever. The wall is deep brown to red. The object is placed on a white table surface. It's very beautiful. Okay, what is this? My crystal carafe. My crystal carafe. Item number 300. Object class safe. Special containment procedures. 300 is stored in a locked climate. 300 is stored in a locked and climate-controlled container at Site Double Blank. Experimentation on 300 may only be performed with prior written permission from at least one Level 3 senior researcher. And any observations made must be recorded for later analysis. Description: 300 consists of an antique glass perfume bottle, parentheses SCP-300-1, containing approximately 2.4 cc's of an unidentified colorless liquid, parentheses SCP-300-2. Perfume bottle. That's kind of one of the things I was trying to glean there. When a single drop of 300-2 is extracted from 300-1, and the drop is viewed through a standard optical microscope, an animated scene becomes visible. While no two drops have shown precisely the same scene, these scenes generally take the form of pastoral or woodland scenes consistent with that of Victorian-era England. This is cool. It's like my picture in a bottle, right? This just seems like a Time Lord object. This reminds me a lot of stuff that you would see that just somehow the Time Lords accidentally dropped it on planet Earth in the Victorian era. That's my picture on the bottle. You're a snake oil salesman. No, it's real. It's handed down through the generations. So far, attempts to analyze the exact chemical components of 300-2 have inexplicably failed, with spectrometers reporting wildly variant or false data, thus making attempts at replicating it impossible. 300-2 also invariably evaporates within 2 to 8 hours. 300-2 also invariably hyphenates. 300-2 also invariably evaporates within 2 to 8 hours of being drawn outside of 300-1, despite all attempts at stabilizing the substance or controlling laboratory conditions. 300 was first documented along with Redacted after being recovered from the attic of a row home in Redacted, UK on single blank 1863, following a raid by agents of the Royal Society for the Security, Containment, and Protection of Anomalous Artifacts. 300 was transferred to SCP Foundation possession on single blank 19 blank. Addendum 300-1. Experiment log abridged. This is probably the most interesting stuff right here. UK 1863 Royal Family for the Security, Containment, and Protection of Anomalous Artifacts. Artifacts. Treasure of the SCP Foundation possession 19 blank. This creates a chain of causality, a chain of events for like where responsibility and like who wants to hold what, who can hold what, when, where, and why. Definitely the when. We got the where and why from the UK side there though too. Addendum 300-1. Experiment log abridged. Experiment log abridged. Date double blank 19 blank. Procedure: a single drop, approximately 0.07 cc's of 300-2 transferred to a microscope slide. Video recorded for approximately 3 hours before 300-2 evaporated harmlessly. Details: visible scene consists of a dirt road lined with trees of an unidentified species. Coloration of leaves suggested that the scene was taking place in autumn. A light breeze is blowing, causing some of the yellowed leaves to fall to the ground. At approximately 1 hour 7 minutes 18 seconds, a horse-drawn carriage with a driver and 2 passengers passes through the scene. Clothing worn by the individuals seemed to be consistent with that worn in Victorian-era England. No other significant events are recorded. Date: double blank 19 blank. Procedure: a single drop, approximately 0.08 cc's of 300-2, transferred to a microscope slide. Video record lasts approximately 5 hours. Details: visible scene consists of a rural farm. Size of wheat plants visible in scene indicate late summer time period. A family consisting of 2 adults and 3 children of varying age are periodically visible in various areas of the farm, performing chores. Clothing of family consisted with previously established time period. So it's like temporal viewing. Liquid. Date: single blank 19 blank. Procedure: a single drop, approximately 0.07 cc's of 300-2, transferred to a microscope slide. Video record lasts approximately 2 hours. Details: visible scene consists of the interior of a well-furnished residence. Within the visible area are a lit fireplace and several armchairs. 3 well-dressed individuals, 2 men and 1 woman. 3 well-dressed individuals, 2 men and 1 woman, are seen conversing while enjoying a bottle of what is presumed red wine. Lip-reading analysis of their conversation is incomplete, but fragments developed so far indicate a casual political discussion Lip-reading analysis of their conversation is incomplete, but fragments developed so far indicate a casual political discussion regarding issues appropriate for the year 18 double blank, again in Victorian England. Date: single blank, double blank, 19 double blank. Procedure: 2 drops, approximately 0.15 cc's of 300-2 transferred to a microscope slide for experimentation. Video record lasts approximately 3 hours. Details: video record is blurry and indecipherable. Although a few fragments of video have been analyzed, no useful information is gathered. Further experimentation is to be limited to a single drop of 300-2. Addendum 300-2. Incident 300-012. On double blank, single blank, 19 double blank, Dr. Blank was found dead in laboratory C, with cause of death being self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Laboratory video surveillance showed Dr. Blank obsessively viewing a recent record. Laboratory video surveillance showed Dr. Blank obsessively viewing recent recording from a SCP-300 experiment and becoming increasingly agitated until he pulled out his sidearm and took his own life. Upon investigation, the recording was identified and analyzed as a 3-hour-long recording made during an experiment on double blank, single blank, 19 double blank. Recording shows a young woman of approximately double blank years of age, sitting in an armchair and embroidering an article of clothing while singing to herself. Further investigation showed a startling resemblance between the woman and Dr. Blank's late wife, who died during redacted up and to including a birthmark visible on the left side of her neck. Experimentation on 300 has been temporarily placed on hold pending research into possible telepathic or memory-affecting capabilities. Or temporal anomaly, maybe. Addendum 300-3. Inscription located on back of SCP-300. A world in a bottle. For my beloved Nora. And it's a family emblem, which looks like WAW. Or WA. Could be AWW, could be, whatever combination, but I think of WAW for some reason. Is linked to an image? Yeah, it's just an image. Professor AW, okay, it's AW. Artifact liquid, Professor AW, safe, visual. Well, that's gonna do it, homies. I hope you enjoyed. And that's reading the SCP Foundation Wiki, 291 to 300. I'll be seeing you. Peace out. Farewell for now.